What's up guys, it's Noah here with CustomRCMods, and in today's video, I'm starting a brand new series all about how to build your own FPV quad from the ground up. Now I get this comment way too often talking about how do I get started in this FPV hobby, and I feel like a lot of people are quick to recommend those bind and fly drones like the iFlight Nazgul 5 is a popular one, but personally I think that there's no better way to get started in this hobby, especially if you're looking to become an enthusiast in it, by building your very first FPV drone. It's going to give you a great respect for everything that goes into making one of these bad boys fly, as well as it's going to give you that confidence to repair the drone because you actually know how it works when you crash it. And that's a when. You're obviously going to crash when you're just getting started in the FPV hobby. So again, knowing how to fix the quad when it breaks is really important. And I credit that to the main reason that people might get out of this hobby once they break their bind and fly drone. And if you don't know what's going on under the hood, it just might seem like such a daunting task to get your drone back up in the air, and sometimes people just spend way too much money and spend way too much time on the project. So now we're going to go ahead and move into choosing the parts for this build. But before we do that, I do want to say I'm going to be replacing this Schizo Nova with this new build. So if you guys are interested in picking this thing up, it will be for sale. I'm hopefully going to be offering it to you guys at an excellent price. The Facebook Marketplace sale link will be down in the description below, and you guys can check it out from there. Go ahead and DM me on Instagram or Discord or anything like that, or even just comment down below if you're interested. It is a great drone. I've had nothing wrong with it. I'm just moving away from a few of the components on board here, and I got this thing used. I'm trying to go ahead and replace all the different used drones in my fleet with custom built ones. So if this thing seems interesting to you, you can go ahead and binge watch all the flight videos that I've done with this, because it's an excellent flying drone, and I'm happy to go ahead and let it off to a new home where it's going to get some good love. Anyway, this build in specific is going to be a mid-tier drone for me, at least. I'm going to try to give you all of the options as it comes to a lower budget or more of a mid-tier or even higher budget, high performance parts. And spoiler alert, guys, if you're looking to save some money, you want to go for those lower budget options. You're really not sacrificing a lot of performance. There's some niche uses for the higher end products, and I'll make sure to go ahead and let you know where your money can go a long way or where it's just best to cut your losses and save the cash with this build. But again, a lot of options. That's my goal altogether, and you can choose to go ahead and follow this to a T, or you can choose whatever different products you want. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into the shopping cart right here, and we're going to talk about this build. So as you can see, we're here on racedayquads.com, and my subtotal in this cart right now is $230 total, which is a really good price, especially for the drone you're getting. And this is for the mid-tier offerings. I'm missing a few things in the shopping cart, which we'll get into a little bit later, but you can definitely easily build this for under $200. Let's go ahead and start off with the frame here. So the frame I've chosen for this build is the iFlight XL5 V4, and the nice thing about this frame, besides the fact that it's a quality frame from iFlight, is the fact that it is a true X design. And basically what that means is that the spacing between the motor's front to back and side to side is the same, and that's going to give you really favorable flight characteristics because the PID loop is not going to have to work out on a different kind of coefficient for your pitch and your roll axes, and it's really going to also make it obviously a lot easier to tune. So yeah, I really recommend a true X frame in this sense, and this one comes in at a very considerable price point, about mid-tier I'd say. If you want to go for a more budget frame, you're looking more in the $20 to $30 range. 40 and up would be a mid-tier, and then after you get like 80 to 100 or maybe even 200 if you're trying to get an Impulse RC Apex or something like that, then that would be your more high tier. So this iFlight XL5 should be a good option. I've seen pretty good reviews about it altogether, and I'm really excited to pull the trigger on it. If you guys are looking for something a little bit more budget oriented, this RDQ Source 1, the TBS Source 1 V3 is a great option as well. It's super robust and it's great for beginners as well. It is a little bit heavier. It comes in at 145 grams, which is a little bit on the heavy side, but I don't think that should make much of a difference, especially if this is just your first quad. You're not going to be reaping a lot of the benefits that a lighter frame will bring you. However, if you go for a lightweight frame, you're going to get a little bit longer flight time just because the motors are going to be under less load, and you will just get a little bit more flight agility, of course, as well. So those are my two frames I'd recommend. And if you want to go a little bit more high end, we can make a full separate video on that. But those are good for this video. Now the next two are the stacks right here, the FC and the ESC, the two pieces that are going to be the brains of your unit here. You can see that we've got a F405 diatone Mamba in both of these right here. They're just slightly upgraded on this one right here, which has a 50 amp ESC versus the one right here, which has a 40 amp ESC. The 40 amp is more than plenty for a 4S setup, and as you can see, it's coming in at about the $12 less than the other one, and that's a really nice little added cushion. I would say that most flight controllers standalone come in at the price of this diatone Mamba stack, and I run the Mambas in 3 of my other quads, so I have nothing bad to say about them. Either way, I'm going to go ahead and go for the 50 amp just in case I decide to upgrade to 6S a little bit later down the line. I really would like that added flexibility of not having to replace my ESC. So I'd recommend you do the same, but this 40 amp one, even though it's out of stock right now, is available on like Get FPV and other FPV vendor sites, and it is an excellent deal, and is an excellent stack as well. So now we're going to go ahead and start talking about motors, and this is really going to be where you have the most influence on how the quad flies. So you can see right here, these are the motors that I'm choosing for my specific build, the mid-tier build, and they are the T-Motor Velix 2306.5 2550 kV motors for 4-cell. These motors look super pretty. They come in black, silver, and gold, but I'm going to go with silver just because I already have the gold motors. It looks somewhat similar with the iFlight Cyberzings. So yeah, I really like these motors. I think they're going to be great. And with that 2550 kV, they're a little bit more of a powerful motor. And I guess that might be a bad thing if you're a beginner and you're trying to learn your throttle control. But if you really want that beginner setup, I definitely recommend the brand new Emax Eco 2 series. And they are also with 2306 2400 kV. Those are the exact same motors in the newer version that I have on the Schizo Nova here. And they are some of the smoothest motors that I've ever flown. I have nothing but good things to say about them in my personal experience, and they've really only improved on things here in the Ecos 2 series. The only thing that really holds this down from being a high-end motor is the fact that it has a steel shaft versus a titanium shaft, which makes it a little bit heavier, as well as some of the body components like the aluminum in the bell may be a little bit more kind of malleable and might get scuffed or dented a little bit easier. So just the build quality, but I definitely think that these perform quite well, and even on a mid-tier level, these Eco 2 motors are quite great. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the props while we're on the topic of the powertrain here. And I recommend these new HQ V2S Freestyle props. And for my specific instance, I'm going to be rocking these yellow ones in the 4.3 inch pitch because I'm running the 2550 kV motor. I do like to have a little bit less pitch, and I'm going to be making a full video on choosing prop pitch based on motor kV and size here in the near future. However, I guess this is just what I'm going to be using. You can go ahead and use the 4.3s on the Ecos as well. However, you might want to upgrade to like a 4.5 just to have a little bit more thrust, but again, not too big of a deal. I guess you can go ahead and figure that out for yourself if you want to dive a little bit deeper on that. So yeah, that's the powertrain. We've gotten the stack out of the way for this build. Now we're going to go ahead and focus on our video components. Now the camera is one place you're really not going to want to skimp out. This is your entire view as you're flying the quad. So you don't want to have a very bad camera with a bad view because that's really going to hinder your flight performance. My personal favorite now for the long term has been this Phoenix 2 from RunCam. I have it on 4 of my quads, and this is going to be the 5th right here. And I just really like it altogether. I think it's an excellent camera. Colors are great right out of the box, and it has all the features you could pretty much ever want, and of course it's also very lightweight. Moving on to the video transmitter. This is also a place you don't want to skimp out because if you again have that low range, you're really going to limit yourself in that sense. Now I really like the Rush FPV Ultimate Tank series. However, the video transmitters by Race Day Quads, especially this Mach 3, I've had a few of these as well, and the 1000 milliwatt settings on here really make this a great long range video transmitter as well, but you can obviously knock that down all the way back to 25 milliwatts if you wanted to use that. So Mach 3, great transmitter, flies really well, get all the range you could pretty much ever need at an excellent price there as well. Moving on to the antenna. Now, I personally like to go ahead and use a straight MMCX connector, meaning that it's not going to use that pigtail. It's going to save a little bit of weight on there, and it's going to simplify things. True RC antennas are really nice. They're a very high-end antenna brand. I don't know why this thing's only $12.99, because I feel like you're getting a lot of antenna for your buck there. So I'm going to go ahead and try this one out right here. But if you guys wanted to go for a typical SMA antenna, you can use whatever you like. But this is, again, just what I'm going to use for that straight, MMCX, get rid of that pigtail, design, I guess. I don't know really what I'm saying anymore. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the receiver here, which is the Freestyle XM Plus. If you're just a beginner, you probably don't have Crossfire, and yeah, the XM Plus is a great option for this. You can see they're out of stock on Race Day Quads, which kind of sucks, but you can obviously find it pretty much anywhere else, and they're really inexpensive, coming in just at 13 bucks right there. They're great receivers for what they are. I'm personally rocking a Team Black Sheep Crossfire Nano receiver, as you can see right here. I've got it already, so I'm not going to be buying a new one, and you can see I already have the Immortal T antenna. If you guys already have Crossfire, these are about 25 bucks for the base version. If you want the SE version with the Immortal T antenna, that'll be around $30. But Race Day Quads does not sell the TBS Crossfire stuff for some reason. I don't know. I think there's just some, communication issue with them. I don't know. Anyway. Alright, so moving on to some of these smaller little accessories for the build. We're nearing the end of the parts list here. Definitely 100% would recommend picking up a Lost model beeper. This one's by Maytech, and it's just really essential to have a little buzzer that can make an audible tone when you go down in tall grass or land in a tree, so you can find the quad and get it back. It will save you a lot of time and a lot of stress and pain when going out to find your quad. I know it has saved me a bunch, and for a few bucks, it's pretty much a no-brainer, so definitely pick one up before you go out and fly. Now, the last two are, as it comes to power, definitely pick up a capacitor. This one's a 1000 microfarad capacitor from Panasonic. It's only a few bucks. It can never hurt. It's not heavy, and it can really protect your ESC from, overdrawn current. It will kind of replenish that, as well as it will make a very clear video signal for your video transmitter altogether, as I've experienced at least. And, for $1.50, I mean, you really can't go wrong. And then finally, of course, an XU60 pigtail. I believe that the Diatone stacks have a pigtail built in with the cost of buying it, and a capacitor in this case, but I'm never totally sure, so I'm just going to pick up one just in case, and you should be good to go in this sense. Now, if you don't already have battery pads, I already have some UMA grip, so I'm fine in that sense, but some UMA grip would be really great just to make sure the battery stays on and it doesn't get ejected in a crash, and also will be protected and it won't hurt your battery when you hit something. So yeah, I couldn't recommend that more as well. Anyway, my voice is kind of going out. We're going to wrap up this video now. I'm going to get all these parts ordered, and in part 2, we're going to go ahead and get this thing all built up together. Then part 3, we're going to go ahead and get it all configured and set up for a test hover. Then we're going to go out and fly it in part 4. So that's about it for the video, guys. I hope you found it useful. Please go ahead and subscribe and turn on that bell for the notifications when I post the following parts of this video. Until then, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, comment if you have any questions, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.